Hi all, this is Dr. Dave Massack talking to you about r3ciprocity.com, my peer proofreading and editing platform. Check it out, subscribe to the YouTube channel to help out if you'd like. So I wanted to talk to you today. Some folks were asking about who I am, what is my background, that kind of stuff. So um, where I wanted to begin is, first of all, I'm Canadian, and I grew up in northern Canada, and then I ended up going to the University of Waterloo to do engineering, where I actually learned about process control and things about how to actually control. So I took chemical engineering as well as sociology there. And I learned about process control. So what that is you think about how to actually clean different things within a factory. So how a refinery might work, for example, how you'd actually have inputs into the refinery, so an oil refinery, and how you might actually clean that to come up with a better product at the end, where you'd actually have, so for example, like gasoline or some heavier crude material and stuff like that at the end, how you'd actually separate that. So that was actually a little bit of an impetus, or my thoughts behind reciprocity. Then after that, and I'll get into that and what I mean in a minute. Then after that, I went and did management science at the University of Waterloo, where I got a little bit more in-depth understanding about these different things these different sort of concepts that we learn in engineering. Then from there, I went and did a PhD in strategy, where I learned about things like big data. I studied large data sets, and I also did some programming all along for the last, say, 15 years. I've been doing programming on large data sets, or thinking about simulations and how to sort of manage data. And I learned about, I learned about in my PhD, I learned about entrepreneurship as well. So that was the big focus. I was learning about strategy, business strategy. And after that, I started, in a large part of my thesis was on very large data sets in the medical device industry. And one thing I learned is that there's a lot of really, really messy data out there, lots of really messy text data. So I thought and then I went to a large research institute in Florida, a state institution, and I'm now currently a research professor there, assistant professor, where I teach strategy, doctoral courses, mostly doctoral courses on organizational theory. And I'm teaching another one currently on entrepreneurship, innovation, and research methods as well. So what I wanted to, a couple of years ago, I started thinking about how to actually process large amounts of data and do it very effectively, text data. And I realized that there really wasn't anything out there currently to do this that I was aware of anyway. So I decided to create Reciprocity because it allows you to use the cloud, or use this sharing economy to actually clean text data. The reason why it's really difficult to actually clean text data is that language is living. So there's all this sort of tools that are available right now, and I won't go through them, but they're rule based and really actually tough to process this data and make sense of this data. And so if you have for example, a large essay that's 30 pages, it's really difficult to apply any particular rules to that. What you actually need is a human brain. And one thing I forgot to mention is that I also studied learning. That's sort of been my theme for the last 10 years, understanding how both organizations and individuals learn. So what you do need is you need a human brain to, or a series of human brains, multiple human brains, to come together to look at this large text data and to make sense of it. Because there's typically, especially with written work, things change all the time. that we might mean one thing, but you actually mean another thing. You really need a human brain to look at that and to understand it, or a series of human brains. So coming back to my engineering, or thinking about process control, is I wanted to actually imagine, or I was imagining a system, and now that's just very rudimentary at this moment, right? So I was imagining a system that you can actually combine together some of these understandings of process control, where you actually can clean this data effectively by using many people actually processing this data. So there are some things out there that are similar, but they're not quite the same, and they don't work in the same sort of way. So that's my story, and I've kind of moved around in sort of topical areas, but at the same time, I've been very much interested in this understanding of how both organizations and as well as humans learn, as well as combining different aspects of entrepreneurship and innovation, particularly within the software industry, or using different sort of software tools to make sense of how people do that. And I think there's actually a convergence that's happening currently right now, that we actually are converging towards a situation where humans are going to interact far more intensely with computers than we have in the past. So I think that this is a very opportune time to implement or build this particular software platform, r3ciprocity.com. So if you think this is interesting and you want to help out, and again, I'm developing this slowly and sort of doing this organically based on the budgets that I have. If you'd like to help out any way that you can, one way that you can help out is you can subscribe. Another way that you can help out, or you think that you want to get some of your own editing done, or you want to sort of try editing other people's work, just go onto the system, r3ciprocity.com. You can also help out just telling your friends, and you think that this is interesting. So once again, thank you so much, and take care. Bye.